I'm dropping my NewLooneyTax vote in the mail at the post office today. In answer to some questions about the Looney, I'll explain the process of the 420 NewLooneyTax vote. It's not about the Looney now, it's about the right to vote right now. If we ever get enough Loonies collected, it will be about the Looney then. What will happen to my Looney once it's dropped into the mail with my form letter, not only demanding my right to vote on the legalization of cannabis consumption, but also that the money collected under my voluntarily offered tax may only be dispersed to these three funds: educational funding for schools across Canada, including music programs and teaching staff that were cut to be put back in place; medical care across Canada to cut wait times for emergency care and surgeries; military funding so that our protectors have something to protect us with. Unlimited Looney tax funds might just bring our soldiers home safely more often. Note that we would have been taxed when it became legal anyway, so why not show government we are already willing to pay? Note that as long as these Loonies received by all cannabis consumers in Canada are received by government, and that it cannot be determined which proceeds have come from certified medical marijuana consumers or from street consumers, and as such they cannot spend proceeds from an illegal entity. So because there is no return address on this Looney tax vote, the Looney cannot be returned to sender. So it has to go to a trust fund and sit there untouched until it becomes large enough to concern everybody. The Looney bubble envelope travels through the postal system until it reaches the destination of the Secretary for the House of Commons, whereby every piece of mail received by Parliament must be logged into a diary and given a number. This number is an official government log of receipt of this Looney and letter of intent by mail. Once Mr. Speaker has processed the request, this piece of mail would be logged in as the name of the mail, which would be the 420 NewLooneyTax letter and one Looney. The Looney is then forwarded to the Receiver General. An accumulation of Loonies will present itself eventually, even if I have to mail one off every day for years to come. I have the time and the Loonies. Once enough Looney tax votes accumulate into a trust account, sooner or later somebody's going to want to spend those Loonies, if they get big enough. Anybody else following the beauty of the democratic process in this plan? Oh, look, there's another vote right there. So for the past 30 years, we have had petitions and signatures and bills put forth, but nobody's able to get past first reading from all the you-know-what by the you-know-whos that are in power. By the by, if you vote for the Liberals in this election, they swear to legalize cannabis consumption. Something to consider on voting day. The next progression in this plot is that 5 Loonies in an account is not much to worry about. 55, 5,500, 55,000 is interesting. 5,500,000, however, and now somebody's going to ask to table a bill to legalize cannabis consumers in Canada just so they can get their hands on the money. We might lose our Looney tax money to do that, but the end result will have accomplished what 30 years of red tape could not nor ever have. At that time, we will have given government enough money to curtail cuts to education, medical care, and military funding, which will be boosted because our argument is that we already put the money in place and that we traced it ourselves by way of the Canada Post receipt. And if we are experts at the tally process, and we might be, we would have a legitimate tally because of the dates on the postal receipts submitted. We have a voice about the spending as a legal entity at this point and can still add our tax money if the government hasn't kicked the crap out of us with their own taxes, i.e. alcohol and tobacco consumption. Sure, nobody trusts the government, but the point has been made in all aspects of this debate simply by sending an anonymous Looney to the Speaker of the House of Commons. So there you have it, folks. Are you with me or are you against me?